H-Town, Friday morning, June 10th. Um, Jose here from the H-Town a Hometown Podcast. Just want to say first and foremost, love and grace will always win. If I could tell you everything that went or that could have gone wrong prior to this conversation, you probably wouldn't believe me. Thank you to my neighbors for finding my dog. Thank you to the chosen one for giving me that last breath of fresh air. I appreciate you. And I'll start by saying this. There's so many things that I wish that I regret. Believe it or not, I know people say that there is no regrets. There's so many I regret. If I ever get the opportunity to run into anybody that I've hurt in the past, I pray that I do, and I pray that there will be a moment of healing, or at the very least that I can ask for forgiveness. And I'll say, please forgive me to anybody in the community that I've hurt, that I've caused harm. Anybody, that being a parent, that being a peer, that being a classmate. There's so much shame and guilt, so much fear going into this or prior to this project or the revamp or round two. Mostly because I realized that a lot of the processing that I've been able to do has been around realizing how much of a scumbag or how much of a fraud I've been in my younger days. I want to take the time, again, to say that it was important that I made that crossover. Thank you to every friend. Everybody has allowed me to have that sit down and that conversation with them. That has allowed me to have accountability. Thank you for everyone that has allowed me to grow and learn. Without further ado, I present to you Homegrown, Episode 1. I hope that you hear my heart, that you hear our intentions. But most important, that this might be the calling that might send you in the direction of you finishing your race. I realize that the time is now. It's our goal, it's our say for us to change the narrative and break the cycles. But it all starts within. That in the same way that my family and I will one day, I pray and I hope, heal fully my clan, that you and yours will also be in the same direction, because ultimately that is the only thing that will set us free. I pray that we may heal together, become a community. And here's the option, even if it's not with me, even if it's not collaborating and working together, it doesn't limit you from being who your community needs you to be, who your neighborhood needs you to be. It's never been too late. It's never been a better time. Thank you for your time. The H-Town, a Hometown Podcast. Should be proud. Hudson, the beautiful community of Hudson. I present to you the conversation with a star, homegrown, a child that grew up in your neighborhood, in your schools. Hear his heart. And I pray for anybody watching it. Hey, never stop dreaming. Follow your heart. There's something within you that you gotta leave the world with. That spark within you. Yeah, that thing.
Dog. It's like
I was gonna
some.
say, is that Money Mike's Mike from back in freshman year of high school?
Solo
No,
tú
it's
eres
not.
directamente desde Nueva Vía Records. Solo
When
tú
Mike
eres
T was putting down beats.
el
Back
pequeño
in the day,
gigante en
right?
la casa,
Oh yeah.
Santa Fe en la
And
casa.
Nico,
yo,
Smoke,
you ever rocking with them when they did that run or not?
Es miato.
Money
Like,
Mike.
yeah. When they were doing that,
Yeah,
so
yeah. He had
when they,
he had a diss track on T Nova. I
yo, he just showed me that when we were doing the podcast when we started doing that, he played it for me. I didn't realize he had made that, so he told me all the stuff that they were doing. Hilarious, obviously, like really.
We tried putting that shit on our warm up CD for basketball. When we
Yeah, that
played
what?
T Nova.
Yeah, probably didn't happen, right?
Mm-mm. More happy about that.
No.
You got to experience different aspects of life, and I think that's definitely might be like the easiest way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just sheltered in Massachusetts and like even like just put it like Central Mass, like if you never get
Right.
out of Central Mass, like
Correct.
you never really know what the world is.
For real.
Like
For
I've been
real.
to Europe twice. I've been to Mexico a couple times. I've been to
Yeah.
Canada. I've been obviously I live down south right now. Like you really get to experience what life really is. And like there's different cultures, there's different way of things. You can be in the same country, but there's still different way of things depending on where you are in the country. And it's like
Facts. Yeah.
it just changes your perception on everything.
I agree. I feel like in a way it's necessary, you know?
Yeah, it helps you grow as a
Right.
person and just in life in general.
Man. Or let me ask you this. How do you feel right now where you're at in life? Like do you feel like that you made it out? Do you feel like you've made or maybe not necessarily where you want to be, but you know that you're going forward, right?
I would say I'm not satisfied where I'm at right now. Obviously, I always want to continue to grow and
Yeah.
continue to level up.
Yeah.
But I talked to my girlfriend about this a couple times. I don't really like to look back at things that I've gone through, but like
Okay.
when I do look back on it, like I'm happy, extremely happy with where I'm at in life. Like
Yeah.
I work with professional athletes. Like I literally go to work in gym clothes and I'm in a gym. I'm helping people get faster, stronger.
Yeah.
I've been to multiple like NBA games, NFL games, like college football. Like I've been all over the place, so I can't say it's not a bad life, but I definitely
Yeah.
do really I thoroughly enjoy with where my life is at right now.
Okay. Yeah. That definitely and I feel like you know that there's still more for you to reach or to conquer.
Oh,
But
like in my big picture,
yes,
I've
correct.
only accomplished like
Yeah.
this in life, and I
Facts.
guess some other people look at that as a lot I've accomplished, but like I still
Yeah.
want to continue to grow and level up and keep going. Like I never want to be satisfied.
Do you feel like a big deal? I
In my head, yes,
yeah.
but I know, like in real world, like I'm still a small fish in a big ass pond, just trying to grow. Like
Yeah.
in my head, yeah, of course. Like I feel like everyone should think of themselves as accomplished, as a big deal, and what you're doing in life. Like you actually have a purpose, a meaning. Like I've helped hundreds of kids get Division I scholarships,
Mhm.
and to me, obviously, I'm not getting those scholarships, but I'm there the whole time, and hearing someone or getting a text message from someone, hey, I just got my first Division I scholarship, like that shit gives me the chills every time.
Yeah.
How many times I'll go through it, I still get the
Facts.
chills because that person is living out their dreams. So I'm kind of in that same boat with them. Like, yo, I just helped you live out your dreams. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a big deal.
Like,
Yeah, I know it's kind of we're just chopping it up, but like, yo, for real, like, man, like you made it out, you know, and it go, you know, you mentioned earlier that like, you know, even just Central Mass, right? But like, yo, you come from where we come from, and I feel like the places that God has allowed you to reach and physically and also just as goals, right? Like the people that you've been able to work and then also working or living out something that you're passionate about, those are levels. And I feel like, yo, it's not everybody made it there, right? So like you are a big deal in the sense of like, yeah, in your eyes, my eyes, but also I feel like uh there's almost a responsibility that comes with that, in my mind, the way I see it, right? Um, because you are a superstar. You are our Hudson's superstar, you know? Um,
To kind of back off what you're like saying, there were kids that had like when I was back home, they would come to me and like, oh, so you get kids Division 1 scholarships? I'm like, bro, I didn't what? I don't get like that's not what I do. I help you try and get them, but they're like, no, like anytime someone comes to work with you, it looks like they're just getting an offer right after that. I'm like, that's
Ooh,
like if you guys want to put that standard on it, sure. Like I don't really control that, but like I guess if there's responsibilities, I guess that was one of them that people thought I had was
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you get a
Yo,
scholarship.
that's badass though. That's like those are standards, right? Like that's like it's like it's a smash every time, right? It's a hit every time. That's crazy.
And like
Um,
obviously like I was very successful back in Massachusetts. Like I never really looked at it as like the kids I got the scholarships for. I was
yeah.
like, damn, like there was a couple kids I didn't get a scholarship for.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
those are
yeah, those.
like really didn't sit well with me. Like
Yeah, yeah,
kids I thought I'm like, yo, I got this kid. Like I'm taking him all the way.
yeah,
And then like somewhere down the line, like people drift and it is
yeah,
what it
yeah,
is.
yeah,
But I'm like, damn, I missed out on
yeah.
it.
That's crazy.
So it's
Your journey, I feel like to us or to somebody as a spectator and just somebody who um honors our community, right? Like there's so much. I'm sure there's so much info that like you could tell me about your journey in different stages throughout. But let's talk about your upbringing first, right? Let's go back where you grew up, right? Hudson, the beautiful small
Miss
town of
Miss Miss
Hudson.
Uselli's English class. That was
Yeah,
that was a spot.
this guy.
That was where the chosen one came up. Eighth
I
grade
wish,
English
I
class.
wish you would have stayed, bro. I so wish you would have stayed.
That was eighth grade English class, right?
Yeah, that was it. That
That's
was
the
it
day.
right there. So you grew up in Hudson High. Yo, what was your upbringing like? Like when I met you in fifth grade, you were like the cool kid, and that title never left you ever, 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 ever. You went through elementary, middle school, high school. Like Dana Barry was, he had a calling already. Like that. That was it. And we laugh and joke, but I think in the real world, it's a little bigger than what we thought back in the day, right? Like being popular or being such an influential kid without trying or just being you, I guess, right?
I would definitely say like I always try and just keep it real and keep the situations always light. Like there's so much weight and just how to like grow up, be this, be that, do this, do that. Like it's that shit's stressful. Like no
Yeah,
bullshit. So I always try and bring light to situations, even if it's sometimes the wrong timing. Or
yeah,
like no one's mad that they're laughing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're mad at something else. They're stressful because of something else. But
Um,
um, literally growing up, I had a solid family. My family's always been close. Parents got divorced, I think, in second and third grade. So that obviously that shit was tough on me.
yeah.
Obviously I was really young, so I didn't really understand the full concept of everything and what was really
Hmm.
going on. But obviously now I look back on it and I understand everything.
Hmm.
Um, but then sports, bro, sports really
Yeah,
kept me going.
yeah,
Like there was always somehow I always drifted towards I wouldn't say the greatest of individuals. Like I just always would drift different ways because of what people were doing. I always wanted to have fun and thought it was like that was the cool thing to do. But
yeah, yeah,
like no bullshit. Like looking back on this, like
yeah.
there's I wouldn't say there's a lot of things I would do differently, but there's some situations I would love to take back.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, oh yeah,
just stupid shit that I didn't know was good or bad or just you know what I'm saying. So then obviously you learn as you grow. You learn literally as you're going on. Like no one
yeah,
really knows what the hell is going to happen tomorrow or the next day or that day. But going through like middle school and shit, parents, the divorce was I'd say they're pretty ugly. They fucking hated each other. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
know what parents divorcing like each other,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That I don't know. I can't speak.
but yeah,
But
sports.
yeah, it's crazy when we're growing up and seeing that stuff, though. You know.
Yeah, you never really see anything like that. Like unless you're going through it, like you don't
Right,
really
right.
understand like
Exactly. That's
shit.
what I'm
Like,
saying.
wow.
Like,
But then I would say honestly, like middle school, high school, like just sports really kind of kept everything together for me. And then obviously like having well-rounded friendships with everyone. That's kind of something I really pride myself on. Like when I was younger, I know like dude, I know people didn't. There's not everyone liked me. Like I know that for a fact. Like
you had some haters, I would say.
I did some dumb shit. I those are some of the things I wish I could take back. But like I always wanted to try and make sure like if I saw you, I was friends with you, like I tapped you up, I had a conversation with you, like yo, me and you would shoot the shit in English class, whatever class we were in, we were always
Yeah.
talking, and people probably didn't even know we were friends, and like
Right, right,
that's
right, right.
yo, like I liked having friends that people didn't know I was friends with. It's like it
I
keeps you well rounded.
I think people felt intimidated by your by the aura of Dana Barry. You know, it's like for real. I feel if I could speak, I'd say or add a little bit. You know, from somebody who saw what we saw, but perhaps from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I'm sorry. Keep on going. So high school. So sports is what or the structure of sports or sports being a big deal in your life, or you're saying that it took most of your time,
Sports
so that
definitely,
really helped you stay grounded.
yeah. Sports one kept my head out of shit. Even though you still
Yeah.
drift a little bit, it really kind of kept me going in the right path because obviously I always wanted to play college sports or even have a shot at making professional or whatever it was. Um, but sports definitely kept me out of a lot of trouble. And I tell kids all the time, and I
Yeah.
have no problem telling kids about some of the dumb shit I did that I wish
Mhm.
I didn't do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, stay on the path. Academics always comes first.
Yeah.
In high
Fact.
school, in middle
Fact.
school, in elementary school, I
Yeah.
promise you that was never my thought process.
Wow.
Academics was like at the very, very bottom, and I was just like, damn,
Yeah.
give me shit. But like at the end of the day, sports always will come to an end, and what carries you on is your education. And
That's
that's something
crazy.
I never ever knew, and I wish I did know because it was I think it was Anatomy One with Miss Paveo, and this is something I'll never let myself live down. We had homework assignments of just coloring in like diagrams. Nah, fuck that, no, fuck that. I'm done. Yo, and I would try and do it as she's taking attendance. She'd look at me and be like, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Come on, like just let me color this in." I'm like, "Damn, why the fuck would I not just do that in my house? It takes 10 minutes." Like,
Literally. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like just stupid shit like that. But if I never had, and I can proudly say this right now, if I never had sports, I would either be working as a mechanic, landscaper, or some other shit. Like I would not be doing anything that I'm
Yeah.
doing right now. Because if I didn't have sports, I wasn't going to college. I was going to drift some other direction, work on cars, fucking dirt bikes, four wheelers, do like some other crazy nonsense. But like I would not have been in this position if I never played sports.
That's crazy. You know that? I feel like, yo, one, that's real for you to say. Now that you say it, I could see that, and looking back, processing a lot of things of like what I know of you, I could see what you're saying. But that I will never. I guess I never expected that coming from you. I guess
I
if
can
that
I
makes
can
you
say
know what
now,
I'm saying. And I think a lot of people probably do not like because we look at you, or at least I can't speak for everybody, but I'm saying we look at you as somebody who's like it's like it's like our star, and I mean that obviously not in a gas up way, but like in a way where like we knew all along you were a star, right? Like
yeah.
sports, school, your friends, all of that. So my question to you is, yeah, how did you always saw this coming? Like, did you always knew this is where you wanted to go, or when did you know like this is where you were gonna go? If you were telling me that academically it wasn't.
So I think it was my sophomore year of high school. I played a football game, and I had a couple like prep school like coaches coming to watch my games, and they actually went up to my father and were like, "Is that your kid?" and like they were really asking. They had clipboards, they were taking down numbers, everything like that. And I'm like, damn, all right, maybe this is something I really could have. And like growing up in like middle school and playing basketball, like it was just something that always came like, I don't want to say easy to me, but it was always natural.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't really anything athletically that I probably couldn't have done if I like got a
Correct.
couple guys to do it.
Correct.
Then once hearing that my sophomore year, there was a couple coaches there. I was like, all right, this might be something I can actually do. Like, let me just get through school and let me see where this sports thing goes.
Wow.
And then junior year, coaches like college coaches started recruiting me. I tried. I don't even know if this ever went public, but after my sophomore year, I tried going prep school and I toured a couple prep schools and I was actually going to leave Hudson. And then same exact thing after my junior year, but there was two individuals that actually stopped me. It was Courtney Cray, the athletic trainer, and TJ.
Yeah.
Courtney Cray actually pulled me into her office. I was probably about 2 days away from signing with a prep school, and Courtney Cray pulled me in and is like, "You're gonna miss this," and I'm like, "The hell do you mean I'm gonna miss this?"
Yeah.
Bro, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And
What do
she's
you?
like, "You're gonna miss all your friends," and I'm like, "Damn, you literally just took a dagger and put that shit right in my heart."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you got me with that one. And
Yeah.
TJ by far was like one of my favorite individuals in high school. Because no matter what the hell you had going on in that day, no matter how mad or how sad you were, or you looked at him and he came always with a smile on his face,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah. Facts. Shout out to him though.
He had pulled me aside because he obviously, I was talking to him a little bit about it as well. And he's like, like, you got to stay with the boys. Like, we got this shit. And I'm like, dang, that shit fired me up. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, let's get this shit. So then obviously, like,
Yeah.
year came, and by
Mhm.
then, like, that's when I really had realized, like, shit, like, academically, like, I fucked up. Like, I knew my senior year, so
Yeah.
I had Division One coaches coming in, talking to Mac and SB and trying to get my information, trying to talk to me, but Mac and SB's like, don't waste your time. Academics
Yeah.
first. Like, growing
Yeah.
and I found this out probably the start of senior year when we were like, all right, let's look at colleges, let's do all this with the guidance counselor. She's like, all right, we gotta get your GPA. I'm like, that shit's smooth. I got like a 2.5. I'm good. She goes, no, we gotta take out your electives. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Hey, because I had filled my schedule with like 3 hours of classes were electives.
This guy.
And she's like, yeah, we gotta take those out. And I can say this now, when they took out my electives, my shit was a 1.9.
Yeah.
I needed a 2.0 to earn a Division One scholarship.
Wow.
And when I found that shit out, my heart sunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
so Mac and SB had to tell coaches, like, you guys can't even get him in. And like, that shit put me in a bad headspace.
Oh
and
yeah.
I can proudly say, like, that shit got me.
Wow. I can relate. I can relate. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's like them saying I can't graduate high school. Like, come to find out, this whole time, it's like you just breeze through high school, right? You just whatever each year, summer school. But then once your senior year comes, right, and you're trying to figure out your stuff, even just to get out the door, then you realize like, yo, you might actually just failed at the simplest freaking thing that you could have done.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
And literally, like, no bullshit. All I needed to do was fucking color in some papers. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking back on it, like,
yeah, no, that hurts, right? Like that, like
that shit
but
hurts.
but that hits you right where like
it needs
where
to.
yeah, but that's what I'm gonna, because then you question like, yo, like what am I doing? Like what is my worth? And then the other part of it is like if I'm feeling like I'm not worth a lot is because I did this to myself. That I think that's the harder pill to swallow, and then you can try to figure it out.
There's no one else to blame. Like, you can really say, like, yo, that was on you. That shit was on you.
Yeah.
And like, I'm glad I look back on it and I'm able to help kids. Like, there's a kid that actually is at a Ivy League school now. He plays football at Cornell. He was, no bullshit, he was drifting the same way I was going in high school. He was skipping homework, kind of just being a bad kid. He got suspended twice.
Dang.
I realized, like, this kid is one of those kids. Father wasn't in the picture, so it's like, all right, this is literally like a little.
Yeah.
So it's like, I kind of opened up to him and kind of told him my background and let him in. He goes, that shit really happened. I'm like, bro. Before you even realize it, you'll lose out.
Yeah,
So now I got him out of his public school he was in. I put him in a prep school down in Milton, Mass. He
yeah,
went to the academy 2 years, graduated there. Now he's in Ivy League, and now he's loving life. And I'm like, and
that's
he calls me
amazing.
all the time. He's like,
Yeah,
yo,
yeah, yeah,
just to say thank you. He's like,
yeah.
you changed my
Facts,
life. And I'm like, that's
facts. Do
as long
you?
as I'm using my shit that I went through,
Yeah,
help another person, I'm cool with that.
I think that's the gift. You know, that's the gift and the lessons that we get. How cool does that feel though? I feel like sometimes it's unreal that, like you say, right? Like you're a big deal, but in your head, you're not a big deal, or you are. But the fact that in the real world, right, you could actually change someone's life, which you just did, the kid that you described, and that's very influential. Like that's someone's future or destiny that you just kind of secured, or you provided like just more opportunity for him to make it there. I feel like sometimes most of us don't realize like, yo, those opportunities are happening every day. That you could literally be that person every day wherever you are in life. And
Yeah.
obviously you're a professional, right? Like you're doing big things. Um but in reality, like I don't know if it surprises you sometimes that like, yo, like I sometimes I feel like I'm not even that special, but God uses me, right? Like, and I feel like, sometimes, you're an athlete, you might consider yourself an athlete, a professional, but then that's just the field and that's it, right? Like that's your job and that's it. It's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. And sometimes I feel like, yo, I can't fathom sometimes that like, you could do it anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. You can, and I say this all the time, every single day, you can positively impact someone's life.
Yeah.
Like without even just a simple, hey, how's it going? Like that really can change someone's life.
Facts.
It's the simplest things of that. And I really realized that when I came down here and like that Southern hospitality, and I promise you, the Southern hospitality is real.
Yeah.
Everyone
Facts.
is so friendly down here to the point where my first time when I came back to Massachusetts, I'm going through TSA, and the TSA agent held the door open for me, and I'm like, "Hey, thank you so much." Like, yo, she just stared at me.
It's like, what the hell's wrong with
I'm
you?
like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Just hurry up, move on.
Yeah, like just I'm like, all right, like, damn, all right,
Yeah.
someone's be like, but like that
Hmm.
was just like yeah, someone's just having like a bad day, and hopefully, like me just saying, "Hey, thank you so much," like hopefully that just like kind of opened up
uh,
a little path. But like when I ever look at it, and I would say probably the majority of my athletes will kind of 100% agree on this. I'm not doing this for compliments. I don't want athletes to compliment me. I don't want anyone to really compliment me because I'm doing my job.
right.
If I get you a Division 1 scholarship or I get you a scholarship anywhere, don't thank me. You earned like you did the work. I just gave
Right.
you basically the recipe to make that meal.
Correct.
Like I just gave you like I'm not lifting the weights, I'm not running routes, I'm not running sprints, I'm not doing that. I'm just guiding you. And that's kind of where I look at it is like I'm just here to guide people in the right direction. And that's kind of like what the calling I really enjoy doing is if you really think about it, like high school kids, college kids, bro, we were all lost. We thought
Yeah.
like looking back at it, we think we know what the hell is going on in life. We
Yeah.
know like
Yeah.
3% of what's actually going on in life. But we're like,
Right.
yo, we know this, we're good. Like bro,
Yeah.
everyone needs guidance. It doesn't matter if you're older than me, younger than me. People have been through different stuff, so it's like
Hmm.
anyone can help you anywhere. It's just
Right.
finding out what does someone really need help in.
I agree 100%, and I think that part of it too is accepting that we're not supposed to do it alone. That we're
Yeah.
supposed to do it as a community.
All right, you got your kid.
You hear my little man?
We're gonna bring him up.
Look at that. Yo, what's up? Look at the butch. Look at the butch here, Pooh Bear. Yo, what kind of dog is that?
This is a lab hound.
Yeah, I was gonna say she looks like a hound.
Not the lightest thing in there.
That's your dog?
No, it's I have a one of the athletes I trained back home. He actually is doing his rehab with me, so he brought his
Yeah,
dog down and he's staying with me for a couple months.
word. Yo, so I think as far as conversation, like yo, this is I think this is exactly what I picture in my mind. Just like a real conversation, you know?
Yeah, bro. Me
Um
and you, no matter what year it was, no matter what it was, bro, we could always chop it up and like
Facts. But I feel like
ever
yo,
like
you
what
want,
what
but you want to know, you want me to tell you the truth though, you know why you're like a very special individual, because you represent a group of individuals who've been called from like the beginning, right? Whether you knew that or not, now you know that. I
yeah.
don't necessarily think that you knew that all along when we were growing up, right? But to me, I feel like it's important that you can be this real and open, because I feel like a lot of people are gonna hear you, not the idea of Dana Barry or what they thought growing up. Does that make sense? Like, especially our community. I feel like our kids, our generation, when we grew up, um,
I
and I
always
feel
try and keep it as real as possible. Like so many people, especially in the field that I'm in, bro. So many people blow smoke up people's ass. Like, yo, you're
yeah,
it's like the one kid called me. He's like, yo, you're like the humbler. I'm like,
yeah,
what are you talking about? He goes, you just really say exactly like what it is. And I'm like, well, how are you gonna grow if you're just being told a bunch of shit? Like,
yeah.
you had a bad rep or something, I'm gonna tell you had a bad rep. If you had a good rep, I'll tell you had a good rep. If you're a weird ass dude, like, I'm gonna tell you you're a weird ass dude. Like, because I would want the same in return.
yeah.
Like, if I was screwing off or I was being a dickhead, like, I want to be told that because that's how you're gonna grow. And I feel like that's once you like realize like just be real and be you, like so much more happens for you in life.
What do you think those steps are to being real or to crossing over? What do you think is one of the things that hinder?
No bullshit. You got to stop giving a fuck what people think.
So fear, you gotta stop just
You just
right, like
people will
yo, but
always have a judgment or have something to say.
yeah,
No matter
facts.
what you're doing, like look at like easiest way, like look at LeBron, look at KD, look at Kyrie, look at any like superstar athlete.
Yeah.
They've made it in life. They're making millions. Their families are set. Their like generations are set. They've made that, and people still have negative things to say.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
like
that's
what?
true.
Like then you just gotta like you just get to a point where it's you just gotta like as bad as it hurts. Like I try not to ever pay attention to what people have ever said about me, but like sometimes you get lost in that shit.
Yeah,
It's like that shit does hurt, but it's like that's just their opinion. Like
yeah.
their opinion doesn't dictate who I am or what I do on a day to day basis. So
I
it's
think,
like just
yeah,
gotta get past that.
yo, I think that's the message. Do you think there's a whole generation or a whole class of us that faded, that got lost in transaction?
Yes,
Right. I
100%.
feel like for me, that's now that I have my kiddos, I feel like I made it out, right? But I feel like it somehow there's something within me that doesn't let me live like that, right? So I'm 4 hours away. I've moved out. I'm good. You know, my clan is good. My little ones are good. You're good. There's a lot of us that are we're good. We'll be all right. But I think for me is that like, yo, I can't keep going without going back for mines. And I feel like that's why I keep trying to go back to Hudson one way or another, not necessarily physically, but I feel like, yo, we lost too many, right? Like literally lost too many. To me, that's still something that I feel like I still try to process from time to time. Like to think like, yo, damn, like this is real, right?
Yeah.
And then second of all, I feel like a lot of us are still back home, but so miserable because I feel like there's something within us that we're not really living out or fulfilling, right? Which I feel like you are. I feel like I'm trying to, right? And there's a few that know that's what they're here for. There's
Yeah.
a lot of us that don't know that there's more to life than just the BS that you're still conditioned to, right?
Some people get so lost in like I call it like autopilot. Where you just kind of like just you're not really like not really living.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, bro, you only get one life. You don't want to be caught in like oh, well, my dad did this. I got to go that same route. I got to just live at home. I got to stay like you got to be able to live your own life and just like again explore the world. Like
Yeah,
you'll never really know who you are until you get out there and find out what's really out there. Like in my eyes, before I ever went to Europe, I
yeah,
thought Europe was like the worst place possible. Like, they're a bunch of assholes. I
yeah,
yeah, I was in France for 2 weeks.
yeah.
I came back a whole different person. I'm like, damn, France is unreal.
Yeah,
Like that's like the spot. Like I thought Europe. Like I'm obsessed with Europe now. And like
that's
now, I want
crazy.
to travel over to Asia. I want to travel.
Yeah,
I want to travel to South America. Like I want to hit every continent. Obviously,
yeah.
I want to
Facts,
Antarctica. Like that's
facts.
down south. I don't like the cold. But
Yeah,
like I want to hit every culture because I want to experience and I want to grow as a person. And like when you're just caught in that autopilot of just going through the motions, like it happens. Like your dad did this. Your dad had that small family business. You're gonna take over the family business. You're just gonna go through life without really going like really living life.
yeah.
But people really do get lost in that shit, and
You know,
it's tough. But that's all they really know. And I don't want to say it's on the parents because the parents also go through. They're doing the same thing. They're on
right,
autopilot.
right.
So it's just like it's a tough situation. But again, to back up, like bro, we lost. I think I've done a head count. I think we're like the town of Hudson, like within a couple like our generation of like I'd say like 2 years below us to 2 years above us. I think high 20s, low 30s. Like
Facts. That's probably where I'm at too. Numbers wise, I feel like that's where I can count,
there
and to
was
me, that's like incredible. And then,
I stopped counting.
like,
That shit was just
well, that's what I'm saying. Like it to me, and I feel like, yo, the fact that I made it out, I moved. I feel like, yo, it saved me from not being one of those people too, right?
yeah. Because I look back on it, like a lot of those kids, like we would chill, like literally we would chill with on
That's what
half
I'm
days,
saying,
like
bro.
on weekends and shit. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like some of the stuff that I wish. Obviously, I wish no one that like that never just happened. But like
Yeah,
sometimes I kind of look back on it, like damn, like I almost kind of wish I never was attached to these people, so it didn't really hit as hard. But
right.
there was one time, I think it was after like Ricky Sylvester's funeral. My mom looked at me. She goes, "I can't even lie. You've been to more funerals than I have." And that shit, I'm like,
Fuck. Yeah.
that's
Damn.
like when it really set into me. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying, dog.
man, we
Like,
were losing
damn.
like 3 people a year. And it's like, we were only 18, 19, 20 years old. It's like, that should not be happening to us.
Right.
And
No,
obviously, the drug pandemic wiped everyone out, but it's like, still, like, that should never have happened to
yeah,
our age.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. And I feel like that's a conversation itself to have, and dive deeper and just kind of come out on top of it too, because I feel like we have to. And I also feel like, yo, you're not the only one, and I'm not the only one
Everyone's probably,
feeling this way, but yet we haven't been able to kind of process it out.
yeah. And I,
And
looking at it, like obviously now that we're older, like, the more you talk about it, the more like it kind of is at ease with me. Like
yeah,
I've been probably the past like 3 4 years, I've been very open with like obviously how many kids from that we grew up with have obviously OD'd or died in a tragic accident. Like that's kind of almost kind of put me at ease of just being able to be open about it, like the feelings I've had towards it, the people in general, like it just being able to talk about certain situations definitely helps out. And that goes back to like just like mental health in general. Like, bro, everyone's as as tough as people want to perceive themselves and how they want to look at things. Everyone's going through the same shit. So it's
yeah,
like just open up and just talk about it and just because you never know, like the person you're looking at like might be going through the same shit. And like you guys might be able to help each other through something. So it's just obviously don't like it's just don't open up to the wrong person.
right.
Like don't just open up to some person you met
No,
at
no,
a bar. But it's
no.
like talk about
No.
some shit and like really have to have those I would
Right.
call them like uncomfortable conversations.
Correct.
Because you don't want to have the conversations, but you got to have the conversations.
Correct.
Like once you have it, you feel
Yeah.
better. Like that really changes shit, and a lot of pro guys, and especially some of the guys that I work with, they talk about like mental health, and they're like, you just got to open up. As hard as it is, but once you open up and once you cross that line,
Yeah.
you feel like a whole new person. You feel like you just got revived, and now you're back on that next life.
Freedom.
Yeah, because like
Uh,
think of how much shit like you just hold down, like bad days you're having. You feel like you just got to be a man and stand tall and big proud chest. Like, oh, people
yeah,
can only hold so much burden on them,
for real.
and the longer you hold it, the more you hold, like harder that shit gets. And that's people do obviously commit suicide for mental
Yeah.
health reasons, and that's, they just
Correct.
can't open up. But that
Right,
shit
right.
don't open up.
No, agree. Just gotta say how it is, right?
And that goes back to just just stop caring what people think. Like, live your life. People will always have a negative opinion, no matter what the hell you do in life.
Yeah,
You could be a perfect human, and people
yeah.
will still find that negativity to bring shadow because something's going bad in their life. So it's
If you could do anything as an individual, let's say you had all the powers, right? But I'm sure, or maybe you can start brewing ideas. Is there anything that you felt like inclined to do? Now that you understand that, like, all of this is, basically trauma and brokenness that we could have addressed. But I think for me, I feel like we had the DARE program, we had the Boys and Girls Club, but there wasn't any advocacy for what you're saying, right? Mental health and just being able to heal, right? Like, we didn't understand that we were broken or that we were hurt, and our parents didn't know that they were hurt, so on and so forth. But I feel like there wasn't anything, right? And I'm not sure that there is now. I haven't
I would
seen
say,
anything.
and this is obviously just like in the field that I'm in, like having real like strength conditioning or just performance facilities where you're able to just go and let loose. Cause like
Yeah,
low key, that shit is therapy.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you're
Fact.
training with someone, you're gonna open up to them.
Yeah,
You're gonna open up to them because you're spending time with them and you're just getting shit off your chest. Like there's been some sessions we don't even touch weight. We'll
yeah,
just go ride the bike, we'll go stretch, we'll just kind
yeah,
of just chill, but we talk the entire time. Like I had this one kid, people think I only train athletes. One of my favorite individuals to ever train was a kid who just did Boy Scouts.
yeah.
What didn't play sports, didn't do nothing. Yo, this kid just wanted to talk Marvel movies. Like I'm not like I know about them, but like I
Yeah,
try and
yeah,
free shows. Like that's honestly all I watch. But like he just wanted to talk that. And this kid like was getting bullied, all this, but he just wanted to just open up and just be able to talk and be himself. And that to him was the most therapeutic thing he could go through. His mom would call me once a week. I
yeah.
don't know what you did with Jacob, but like he's so happy right now. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just allowing him to open up
That's
without it
great.
being forced or someone yelling at him. And like, and then on top of that, like just exercising in general, like you start to feel better. And just like that's what I realized. Like in Central Mass, there's no real like performance facilities where you can go and like work out and just shoot the shit and be with kids your own age.
Correct.
There's Crunch where like people don't really want to go to, or like Planet Fitness where like you feel weird and there's like this weird vibes, but like
Correct.
just having a
There's no.
place where it has that vibe where you can just put your phones down, socialize, talk.
Yeah. Fact.
Technology, honestly, like I feel like is really fucking up mental health and just how people perceive and what they think life should be because they see someone's Instagram or their Tik. I don't even have TikTok, but I'm sure TikTok's got things like that crazy too.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
it's wild in there.
but like I had just retweeted something that John Moran had tweeted. He's like, "You guys think you know me, but you see the life that I want you to see." And like same thing as well. Like when I'm obviously posting on social media, that's what I want you to see. That ain't me. Like if people, this will all go out there. My favorite show right now in life is The Big Bang Theory. I guarantee
Yeah.
you, no one would ever expect me to watch The Big Bang Theory, but I watch that shit religiously
Yeah.
every single day. You don't ever see me reposting Big Bang Theory stuff because no one would ever expect that. I watch Big Bang Theory, and every Friday, all day, they play Hawaii 5 and those are my two favorite shows.
That's
But if you look
crazy.
at my social
Yeah,
media,
right.
you would think
You
like
can,
Sons of
yeah,
Anarchy, Game of Thrones, like this. No, I watch
yeah.
Big Bang Theory. Sheldon is my favorite character. I think he's fucking hysterical.
He's
Hawaii
funny.
Five O. Those are like my two go to shows, and I like. But again, you see what you want to see or what I want you to see on social media. That's not really me.
That's
I
crazy.
like. I love hiking. I love being in outdoors. I love the Big Bang Theory. I love Hawaii Five O. I'm now starting to really like dive deep into cooking. Like you don't see that on social media
Yo, shout
because
out to you for
that's
that.
that's what I want to see. Like one of my favorite meals to make. I actually just had it last night. It's a bacon cheddar salmon burger with some salsa on top over white rice. And like I don't post that. Like, but that's some shit like that's real. And that's where social media I think has gone wrong is people just see what they see and they think that's real life. But if you dive deep into someone's life, that's not them.
That's that's crazy. Yo, I feel like, damn, there's so many things going through my head of everything you're saying, because you're spot on. You're spot on. I feel like it progressively gets worse each year. Like each year, it gets worse and worse as far as people losing a grip on what's real and what's not,
Yeah.
right?
People think
Because
social media is real life.
right, I think for the last 10 years we've been conditioned hard. Like they've been trying to condition us hard about what they want us to believe what life is about, right? Or how we should live life. Have you been able to navigate, the social media and your job and all of that, or
So I to do what I do, I have to have some variation of social media, which is why I try and just stick to Instagram and Twitter. TikTok is obviously taking over, but I'm like I'm not doing another thing. Facebook, I actually it's crazy that I even found like what you guys are doing on Facebook because I think I check Facebook once every couple months
you
because
told me that, you told me
in
that.
in college, every time I felt like I was going on Facebook, someone else was dying. So I'm like, yo, why
Yo.
am I going to keep checking this? And it's like I feel like it's just depressing. And then now it's like every time I check it, someone else is popping out a kid. So I'm like, geez, like I don't even know if I can stay on
Yo,
this.
hey, hey, now you're just being a hater, though. Hey, in regards to the kids, I feel like it's why it's happening now. I feel like people are getting into that like sweet spot where they're ready to start having their family, right? Which is a lot of our classmates now. Like they're adults, they got their things, so now they're ready to like have their babies and their families.
Oh, I can
Not
only
me.
imagine
I
kids.
started a long time ago. Not me. I'm saying for the professional
Like I
ones.
can only imagine. Like this is kind of why I wish we had our 10 year. Obviously, COVID happened, so whatever the hell that was.
Oh, I wish we could make something happen.
But like having our 10 year just to see like really where people are at. 'Cause I feel like way more like kids that we graduated with have kids that like we just don't even know. Like I feel like
Facts. Facts.
people are living these crazy lives, but like you don't really know until you see them in person. Like again, like you can see what you want on social media, but like you don't really know until you see them.
Right, right. No,
And
that's true.
it's really crazy, especially with like high school kids now. So that kid who went to Cornell that I was telling you about,
Yeah.
this kid was holding like 1,000 pounds of pressure on his back. He's like, well, so and so got 5 offers yesterday. Why didn't I get one? And I'm like, dude, that's someone else. Like, that's not your race. You got to run
Yeah.
your race.
Oof.
I'm like, in due time, your life will be presented to you, and you'll know. And then that one day, Cornell called and they offered him a scholarship. He goes, I'm in. He goes, that was my calling. And I'm like, and that's why I try and tell kids all the time, don't pay attention to what someone else is doing because that's their race, their life, they're doing their thing. I'm like, that's
Such a hard concept to grasp, but
yeah.
if you can grab it early, it will save you a lot of heartache and brokenness because you realize that it's all within you. It's all there. It has nothing
You
to do with
control
anybody else.
you control where your future really goes by
Yeah.
decisions you make, not what
Correct.
someone else says.
Correct.
And that's the
Were you
hardest reality. Like, yo, you got to do this shit yourself.
you do you feel amazed sometimes by how wise you are, or no? Like, do you surprise
I,
yourself? Have you always been like this, or
No, I mean I've obviously been through a lot of downs to really like. I feel like you got to experience a lot of negatives to understand what real life is. Like I almost got kicked out of college. Like no one knows that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like literally,
Wow.
I was almost flunked out of college, and no one knew
Yeesh.
that.
That's
But
crazy.
like right after that, and right after I got that notice, like me and my mother sat down, we fucking broke shit down, and after that, I had a 3.0 or higher. Like I knew, like, yo, this shit is real life. Like I can't
Yeah,
fuck with it no more.
right.
So like you got to experience negatives before you can like really achieve the positives. But I try not to think about like what what I know now because again, like I don't know enough.
Yeah, facts.
Like
Okay.
I would say like compared to me, my senior year of high school to me right now,
Yeah,
I would say I'm a million light years ahead, like
right.
just in shit that I know. But I know that I'm also not even close to where I'm gonna be in 10, 15 years.
Correct.
So it is nice to kind of look at things like that and just I just try and pass on shit that
It,
I've been through and go through personal experiences, not what I just saw on social media or what I think someone like I tell kids all the time, I'm open with as long as I'm close to the kid, like I'm open as possible. I'm an open book.
yeah,
And the kids I've worked with will back me up on that. Like I will tell you the realest shit that I've ever seen in my life.
yeah.
And that's what I think people really need is just real.
I feel like we missed that. Our generation missed that gap,
Yeah.
or there was a gap. What you're describing to me is what I fight for now, or what I always cry about. That our generation of young men, we didn't have old heads to pull us aside and say like, "Yo, let me just talk to you on the real." Let me just chop it up
No
and
one
have
was ready.
real conversations. We didn't have that, and I get it. I think we can understand that they were dealing with their own stuff, and I feel like my understanding is that they were conditioned to focus on the wrong things, such
Yeah.
as like your career, your job, importance in this, in this w- what you're gonna leave behind, but perhaps not in the family oriented conversation, but more of like what you can accomplish here on earth, right? Um, so we didn't really have a lot of old heads that could just like just talk to us. But it's crazy that you say that because now you're willing to do that, or you understand that without you even trying to make it a mission,
Yeah.
you understand that that's really, when it comes down to it, all you got to be is a real person. That really is the calling. And it's crazy that it's so simple, right? It's so simple, but yet it's what the world is missing. We're
Yeah.
missing each other. We can't come together and help each other and heal each other. Um,
No, that was definitely like that's spot on. Like even like kids I looked up to in like high school, like when I was growing up, like they weren't like their heads were in the wrong place. Like they
right, they
were
weren't on that yet. No,
like
right, yeah,
like even like one of the kids I obviously I won't say his name, but like I was looking up to him in high school and like where his head was at was yo party girls this shit this. I'm like say less like that's what life
right,
is like
yeah,
I didn't know any better.
right,
But now
right,
I look back on it, I'm like, yo, that's like the complete opposite of what you actually need to do in life.
correct. No, I think that's like a perfect example, and I feel like the idea is not to even bring people up, but like to mention sort of like the dynamics that we need to change, or the narratives that we need to change now that it's our turn, or I say it's our go now. One, I say that, try to motivate myself and inspire myself, but also knowing that there's a responsibility, that
Yeah.
everything we lacked of, now it's our go. We're adults now, we're the parents now, we're the professionals now, we're the voices in our community. And if we don't try to make those changes that we want, then unfortunately nothing will change for our kiddos unless we do something about it.
Yeah. It's now it's our turn. And now
Um,
it's what did you not like about shit you had like growing up? And it's like, all right, now you got to get back to that.
correct.
If you didn't like it and you didn't have it, guess what? That someone else is feeling the exact same way.
Facts.
Like that's what I've caught on with life. Bro, everyone go like to an extent, everyone goes through the same shit.
Right, right.
You need a mentor. You need someone to look up to. You need someone to guide you. Like, yeah,
Yep,
everyone needs that.
yep.
Like, don't feel like no one needs it because everyone needs it.
Correct.
Like people, I like. There's one person I look up to. He's younger than me, but like some of the stuff he's been through is obviously stuff I've never been through. So like, I'll go to him for some things in life, and it's
Yep.
like it. You're never too old or too young to help someone out.
No,
Because
correct.
it's about life experiences of what you've been through. It's not about how
Correct.
old you are. Age
Correct.
age is literally just a number.
Yep.
But like if you've been through some shit, you got some wisdom behind you. And I think
Facts.
if you really hear someone talk and listen to what they have to say, you'll see how experienced they really are in life.
I,
But I got a little surprise for you next
Big
time I
shout
see
out to
you.
the H
all right,
Town.
all right.
Thank you so much for all the support. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. If you think this might rock someone's heart, please share and send away. The goal is to get the conversation going or start it at the very least. Let's heal together. Let's become a community. And once again, thank you for all the support. Find us on all the platforms
So I
that
know
we're working
you're
on,
the
and we're
soccer
willing to
guy.
work and
Yeah.
contribute. So reach out.
So
Love y'all.
this is a New England Revolution game worn jersey signed by one of the kids I played.
No way.
The next time I see you,
Get the hell out.
this is yours.
Yo,
I got a
yo,
couple of them, so
he went under your mentorship?
I trained him since he was 14 years old. He signed his first pro contract at 17 and had to drop out of high school.
That's like,
So now he actually plays for the Atlanta team down here.
yo, that's
So it's
crazy.
crazy. Like he played for the Revs. He was homegrown, and now he's down here in Atlanta with me.
That's so crazy, dog.
It's
Those
crazy.
are like, there's so much I don't understand in that world, in that field, but like in the bigger picture, to me, like that's a big deal. I guess I don't know if that makes sense. Like for you to say, or for you to like, not in a boastful way, but for you to know that, like, yo, part of your calling was to mentor him, and you did the job. Like that's a feeling that like you can't compare. Like you can't. That's the win right there. You know.
That's what I'm saying. Like to really watch. Obviously, I wish I was able to obviously play in the NFL and do all these crazy things, but to really be there with someone through their journey and they live out their dreams and they achieve everything that they ever wished for,
And
and you
imagine
get
it. It's
to help
crazy.
them,
Yeah.
it's again,
Yeah.
like I said, I still get the chills.
Yeah. That's
And
crazy.
like that kid really realizes, shit, I just lived out my dreams. Like I just had a kid drafted in the AHL. He FaceTimed me right away. He goes, "Yo, thank you so much," and he was almost in tears.
Damn.
Like that's just how life.
That's
That's
what I
how
was
life goes.
saying, dog. That's a big deal. Damn.
Like
Yo,
that's what I really find enjoyable right now. Is
that's
how
the
many kids can
calling.
I help live out their dreams? If your dream is to be some CEO of some company, I'm going to use my network that I have, and I'm going to find a way that can help you get there and guide you, whether it's
Correct.
getting you an internship at their company and you take it the rest of the way. But like I I know I have a lot of connections and I know I have a platform that can help change a lot of people's lives. And that's all I really like at this day and age. That's all I'm really kind of thankful for is I know I can change a lot of people's lives with connections or mentoring or like training them or anything along those lines. Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? But like that's real to me right now is I can really help someone live out their dream. And that's at the end of the day, that's all I'm happy for. I got 30, 40 years of helping kids live out their dream.
Yo,
And
that's boss. That's boss right there. That's it. That's it. That's gonna be like a cut on the clip too, and I'm gonna post that as my highlight for whenever I'm ready to. Yo,
perfect.
but all right. So let me ask you this though, for real. Like, so just to tag a little bit on what you're saying, have you thought of anything that you dream to do back at home? I know that you're doing a lot of other things and you're gonna do that as it comes, right? But I was just wondering if, the podcast for me, that's really what it is. Like this whole project, it's trying to bring our community together and in a way, right? Like for us to be like the experiment to wake up all these dreams and aspirations that I feel like are sleeping right now, you know, and just like you say, like, yo, it's never been a better time for
Yeah.
you to just go ham and follow your dreams. The technology, even though it's bad, it's the new route where things are gonna move now. That's how you're gonna communicate. That's how things are gonna be shown.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, it's always like, what can we do? I'm curious to know if there's anything that you've dreamed of, or you thought or imagined, you know?
I would love to, just from growing up in that community. I would love to put a legitimate training facility inside
Yeah,
Hudson, Mass.
yeah,
And really, because there's so much potential to come out of Mass and Hudson in general, but
yeah,
like there's just nothing to really like
yeah.
get
I,
over that hump. You know what I'm saying? Like
I,
it's
I
just,
get it.
especially in athletics, like think of just how many people like we went to high school with or trained with or played sports with that like really you saw something in them that like, damn, that kid could make it, but like there was
Correct,
just the right tools in their toolbox to get them there.
correct, correct. No
But that's
resources. I agree. I
that's
agree
that's one of my
100%.
main things I want to try and do in life is put a facility in Hudson and really let that community, because again it's being killed off by a lot of drugs and some shitty
Hmm.
things, kind of giving kids that outlook of, hey, let me get out of that life and let's get
Yeah.
after it in this life.
That's what it is. I feel that one. I feel like I'm on the same boat. Um, a variation of resources, you know.
Yeah,
Um, where I live now, right? Like Bangor is like the closest city to me, and every Mondays I go and play soccer, indoor soccer, and they have one facility, right, to service all of these towns up here, right? And it's like an old school facility, not like
yeah,
Marlboro or anything, you know, like it's old school, but that's the only thing they have, and they make the best of it.
yeah, that's
But you
it.
know what breaks my heart is that down the road there's a Dunkin' Donuts. And every day that I drive there, I see a bunch of kids who are just strung out. A bunch of kids who are strung out, right? And you see that, like, yo, if we have more resources and more people to come together and become a support for these folks or individuals, then we will have more of those kids at the other place than hanging out, you know, at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Um, looking for stuff or strung out or just completely gone, right? Um, but I agree. I think it's all the same thing. It's like everything points to the same thing. Like we need to provide more resources and facilities to our kids that don't have that at home, right? Because ultimately that's what we're longing for. Oh, you're the best. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll jump on here with Mike
All right,
and then
word.
we'll really chop shop and
Yeah,
get
it'll,
get going.
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. All
Oh
right,
yeah. All
all
right, I'll
right.
talk.
Thank you, bro. Peace.
Don't give up. You are almost there. I promise you.